Vlogging, day 3, January 3rd. This is another vlog. So, I am making eggs. It's my special burnt eggs with burnt onions recipe. It's about 6 o'clock, a good time for that. Now you might be wondering what is going on with my eyewear, and I will explain. So, I found these last night because I always find cool stuff. I told you this in a previous vlog. It is a fact of my life. I find cool stuff. I find stuff that I need. I find stuff that I didn't know I needed, but I need. I find stuff that other people may need and I give it to them. Or I find stuff that I don't need but it has a monetary value and I sell it. Or I find stuff that I repurpose as art. So I find a lot of stuff and it usually falls in one of those categories. I don't know what category these glasses are, but they do have like different settings. And they are kind of Kanye West-like. But anyways, I'm going to take them off because they're kind of ridiculous while I tell you more about my night last night. So I just went for a bike ride, so I only had my flip-flops on. And I ended up just out of curiosity wandering over to Dante's Hi-Fi in Wynwood. And wow, that was a big, hot mouthful. Anyways, so I go to Dante's Hi-Fi and just figured I'd hang out in the courtyard area for a little bit. And I knew I couldn't go in because I had flip-flops on and that wasn't what I was planning on doing. But I went to the courtyard and I ran into my friend, Aaron Goney. Shout out to Aaron. And he was there with Jerobi from A Tribe Called Quest. And so I started talking to the two of them for a bit. We were hanging out. And then there was this dude kind of sitting down to my left and he was like doodling on his phone, like literally doodling. He had like this blank screen and he was using his finger and he was drawing like a horse. And I was like, wow, I just noticed that out of the corner of my eye and I was like, that is a really cool, like simple drawing of a horse, like really cool. It reminded me of some of those like Picasso sketches you might have seen. Anyways, so, but then I noticed that he was texting it to the other guy that was right next to me and him. And then I kind of looked at his screen and I noticed they had a whole chain going where they were each creating a doodle and sharing it with the other guy. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I just kind of noticed them, but I didn't really talk to them, at least not yet at that point. But I saw what was going on and I was like, that's interesting. Who are these guys in the courtyard of Dante's exchanging doodles? And then, sure enough, one of them kind of like invited me in on it. I forgot how the conversation opened, but he was like, hey man, do you do doodles? And I was like, what do you mean? And then he was showing me this like function that I didn't have on my phone where you can send doodles. So he gave me his phone and was like, why don't you do a doodle? But honestly, I was like intimidated because they had really awesome doodles of like people and horses and things. And I don't know how to do any of that. So I did my thing and I did love, you know, in all directions. And they liked it a lot because it was so different than what they were doing. Then they handed me the screen again for like another round and I did my L7 pattern. And they liked that a lot. So then I showed them some pictures of murals I've done and they were like, oh, so you're an artist, like that's what you actually do. And I was like, yeah, like I'm not the kind of artist you guys are, but I do my thing, you know? And then I was like, but I get the sense you're not artists like for a living, right? Because they looked like tech bros, kind of, to be honest. And they were like, no. And then I was like, so what do you guys do? And the one guy says, I'm in finance. And the other guy says, I'm a surgeon. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what to say in response to the guy saying I'm a surgeon. I don't think I've ever met a surgeon. But the guy in finance, this is where it's interesting. The guy in finance, I said, oh, that's interesting because I actually majored in finance in college. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I majored in finance and became an artist. And I'm like, it seems like you're the opposite of me. Like you did finance and now you're trying to like be an artist. And then he tells me like that his parents really wanted him to be an artist, but he went into finance instead. Like, it's like the bizarro opposite version of me and the bizarro opposite version of what a lot of common, parental expectations are of their children. So we were just chatting for a bit, and I just found that very interesting, that he was like this opposite of me kind of guy. But we talked for a while about that topic kind of, and it was interesting, all the insights he had and what we uncovered with that interesting similarity/difference that we shared. But anyways, then when I was talking to him a little more and getting to know him, turned out those two guys were part of a group of like 5 or 6 guys. And the surgeon guy, it was his birthday. Like the finance guy said something to me about, yeah, we just came from the Panther game and we're celebrating his birthday. And I was like, oh, today's your birthday? And he's like, well, not today, but it was Monday or something. I was like, oh, okay, so you're celebrating all week. And the finance guy was like, yeah, we all flew in from different places to celebrate with him. And I'm like, oh, okay, these guys are ballers. They're just like, let's fly to Miami, go to a Panther game for your birthday. So I'm kind of interested and intrigued. And, he's telling me that the whole group, they all came in to celebrate the surgeon guy's birthday. And then I said to the surgeon guy, so where do you live, man? And he goes, I said, where do you live? You live in Miami? And then he goes, no, I'm from a little south of here, Boca Raton. And I said, bro, Boca Raton is north of here. You're not a surgeon. You have ruined all credibility now for everything. But it was funny. I didn't say it in a serious way like that. We laughed. And I was like, you ain't a surgeon. Right there. As soon as I said, bro, Boca is about an hour north of here. And then I just looked at him and I like tapped him on the knee. I was like, you ain't a surgeon. So that's my story. Vlogging. All right. See ya.